I love JRPGs, and I love playing them on the Steam Deck. No matter how much I try to branch out and play different kinds of games, I always come back to JRPGs, and that means choosing the platform with the most JRPGs is crucial. Right now in 2024, we have a lot of options for where we play games, and today I want to share my experience over the last year with the 256GB Steam Deck LCD model and talk about why I am insanely excited for the future as a JRPG fan. As someone who grew up with a Nintendo 64, which had next to no JRPGs, my favorite gaming magazine, Electronic Gaming Monthly, gave me intense envy of anyone with a PlayStation. The articles and ads for JRPGs on PlayStation were constant, and I felt it in my gut that I was missing out on something incredible. At this point, I'd had some exposure to anime, and had started to fall in love with it, and I was completely taken in by the beautiful anime-style art I'd see in these magazines. Alas, everything I saw advertised was not for the N64, and therefore not for me. Nowadays, things are very different for Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch is the go-to platform for JRPG lovers. It's practically a foregone conclusion at this point. But should it be? Before we dive in, I'm an adult. My time is limited, and so is my money. Who knew rent was so expensive? When I want to play a JRPG, I have to consider the time commitment first, and I'm going to be waiting for a sale in a lot of cases. I try to be intentional to make sure I'm not spending time and money without good reason. My perspective here colors everything to come, and what I have to say might not feel right for you. But if you're even a little like me, you just might discover a great way to enjoy some of the best games around. If you've been into JRPGs for even a short while, you will surely be familiar with most, if not all, of these titles. Persona 5 Royal, Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age, Triangle Strategy, Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. These games are fan favorites, and they are all on the Switch. Okay, that's true, but it's not where I'm going here. Every single one is also playable on the Steam Deck.
But I already have a Switch.
I know. We all do. We all love our Switches. Bear with me here. There's room for more than one good thing in the world. Right now, the Steam Deck has a few different models to choose from, starting at $400 US for the 256GB LCD model. If you want that fancy schmancy OLED screen and even better battery life, the starting price jumps up to $550, which gets you 512GB of storage. If you want to try to grab one of the discontinued models or a refurbished unit, you might be able to get one even cheaper, but right off the bat, it costs more than a Switch. There's no getting around that. Even so, we have to take into account PC game sales, which can add up to significant savings over time. Steam also has an enormous catalog of games, including a PC version of one of the greatest JRPGs of all time, Chrono Trigger, which is curiously not available on other current-gen platforms. Do I have your attention now? I thought so. Because a PC game library is not tied down to a particular hardware generation, you have access to games that haven't been ported to all the modern platforms, whatever those happen to be. One of the best parts of the Switch is nearly just as good on the Steam Deck, the sleep and wake functionality. It's fast, it's reliable, and it makes jumping in and out as easy as can be. Also, like the Switch, you can hook it up to a TV or monitor and play on a bigger screen. You can even customize the Steam interface with third-party tools like Decky Loader. You can make it your own brand of pretty or add useful functionality, like average game completion times pulled in from how long to beat. It's a PC, and that means customizability. If you don't like how something looks or how controls are laid out, you usually have some pretty decent options. It's up to you. We're seeing more and more JRPGs come to PC, which was fairly uncommon not too long ago. Let's say my Vita suddenly stops working. While it would break my heart, I could still pick up Persona 4 Golden from Steam. For many years, the Vita was the only way to play it. Years down the line, it probably won't matter if my Steam Deck breaks, because it's a PC, I'll have options when it comes to where I want to play the games I've already purchased. Maybe I'll already have something else that can play my games. Maybe there will be enticing competitors to the Steam Deck. Either way, I won't have to hunt down hardware that's out of production, paying whatever price the market demands. Thanks to the increasing popularity of the Steam Deck and PC gaming in general, more JRPGs are coming to PC. I think we still have a ways to go before I see all of the JRPGs I want to play marked as verified for Steam Deck, but the trend right now is clearly moving in the right direction for me. We've already covered some of the biggest names in JRPGs, but there's so much more, and many of them have their own substantial fan bases. To give you a better sense of the options available on the Steam Deck, I've compiled a small list of titles marked as either verified or playable. Star Ocean: The Second Story R. This was one of my favorite games from 2023, and it runs like a dream on the Steam Deck. Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. I played this back on the PS2, and it cemented my love for SMT. Ni no Kuni 1 and 2. Just wow. The Disgaea series. Every single entry except for 3 is available on Steam. I recently played through Disgaea 2 for the first time, and I did it all on the Steam Deck. The Atelier series. This is a pretty expansive series. Based on what I've seen in the Steam store, not every title is verified or playable, but many of them are. Perhaps most notably and very unfortunately, Atelier Ryza 3 is unsupported as of this time. Harvestella. Trails from Zero. I primarily played this on Steam Deck, and I was getting incredible battery life. I would run out of time before the Steam Deck ran out of battery. Persona 4 Golden, the game that propped up the Vita in the West. Tactics Ogre Reborn. Ast Libra Revision. Much like Trails from Zero, the Steam Deck's battery was never the limiting factor. On days off with plenty of free time, I would just plug it into charge whenever I needed to stop for food, and that would give it plenty of juice for me to continue. The Steam Deck has a lovely console-like design and interface, but with PC quirks. So if you've only ever played games on traditional consoles, here are a few beginner tips to keep in mind to ensure you have a great experience. Firstly, just because a game is sold on Steam does not mean it will run on the Steam Deck. Always make sure to check its Steam Deck compatibility rating. I usually stick to games that are listed as verified or playable. If you see either one of these, it means the title has been tested on Steam Deck to ensure that it runs. Verified means they did not encounter any notable issues during their testing. If it has something that might make it hard to play, like tiny text, it will be marked as playable instead of verified. While you can keep the Steam Deck and your games at default settings and have a great time in many cases, the one tweak I would suggest considering is lowering the screen's refresh rate when you don't need buttery smooth gameplay. I usually set it to 40 Hz, and this can drastically improve battery life. If your game doesn't feel like it's running very smoothly, hit the 3-dot button to open the quick access menu and turn on the FPS display. This can be a handy reference when tweaking graphics settings in-game to improve performance. Behind it all, it does run a Linux operating system, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. And you can completely ignore them if you don't feel like digging into all of that. One thing that I have consistently found surprising is the coverage the Steam Deck has gotten, even on YouTube. Specifically, that a lot of the conversation seems to have focused on the technical specs in relation to AAA games. They often cite the screen's lacking color accuracy, the fact that the LCD model screen only goes up to 60 Hz, and how quickly the battery drains. I feel incredibly lucky that I love JRPGs. Why? Because I don't need perfect color accuracy, or 120 frames per second, to have an incredible experience with Star Ocean: The Second Story R. The only time I even think about the color accuracy is if I switch between playing something on my Steam Deck and my laptop. And even then, it's a complete non-issue for me. It's a minor difference. And the battery? This thing just keeps going for most of my games. I have been impressed time and time again by how many hours I can sink into a game without needing to charge it. If I wanted to play the latest and greatest AAA titles, yeah, I have no doubt that my Steam Deck's battery would not last terribly long. But it's still pretty cool that it can run so many of them at all. The games I tend to play run incredibly well on the LCD model of the Steam Deck. Now, I know I've been gushing about the Steam Deck, but let me reiterate, none of this is to say that the Nintendo Switch is not phenomenal for people like me who love JRPGs. Not in the least. I still love my Switch. And I adore my Steam Deck. It's a lot of little things that help me live more intentionally. When I only have, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes to play a game, I need to get in and out fast. And because it has such an expansive library, the Steam Deck is often what I reach for in those moments, instead of going for my much more powerful laptop or a traditional game console. Thanks to its ease of use, the Steam Deck has reinvigorated games for me in much the same way the Switch did. Thanks to game sales, I'm trying things I might not otherwise be willing to take a chance on. There are more great options than I can realistically play, and I couldn't be happier with my purchase. Although the OLED screen does sound nice. What about you? What are your favorite platforms for playing JRPGs? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to subscribe for more, and to give the video a like to tell the world there's value here. Now go find some fun. Peace.